Okay, Satsangiji, everyone please pay attention to here. So we are going to do Naam Simran, reciting the name of Waheguru for 5 minutes. To have peace in your mind. Everybody who is talking, please stop talking and join me for the Waheguru chanting. Waheguru, 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 Guru, Waheguru, 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 Guru, Waheguru, 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 Guru, Waheguru, 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 I think this was the best tribute to the victims, even though this was not in our plan. Chanting the name of Vaheguru, you feel calm and peace within yourself, and your vibration goes away beyond this. So may Vaheguru bless you all. So I let next program to start. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you for everyone for coming out to honor those who have lost their lives in the recent events around the United States. Before we begin, I would like to say a few thank yous to those who have helped make this vigil possible. Thank you to Sikh Religious Society and Palatine Gurdwara for giving us the platform to speak. Thank you to the Sikh Youth of Chicago, Khalsa Aid, Stop Asian Hate Chicago, and Sikh Coalition for all the hard work you have done in this past week to help make this vigil a success. Now, we are here to remember those who have lost their lives to gun violence. We will begin this vigil with speeches, but before that, I would like to make a few more announcements. We have a table set up with poster boards, so if you would like to write a message on there, we are sending it to the victims of the Indianapolis shooting. And also, just a reminder, please maintain social distancing guidelines as you can and keep your mask on at all points. So please welcome Gunber Singh Mukher, an information security analysis by profession and an avid Sikh youth leader in the greater Chicago area. Gunber?
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you all for joining us here today. Words cannot describe the immense pain and sorrow for the recent victims of acts of violence in Indiana, Chicago, Minnesota, Atlanta, and Colorado. We cannot take back the wounds of the families, neighbors, and many communities grieving. However, you're not alone. We're here by your side, grieving with you. A few months back, my aunt and uncle worked at that FedEx location, and I can't imagine the depths of fear and trauma and survivor guilt that has spread through those affected by gun violence and hate-motivated bias. These events also remind me and my family of a few years ago when my own father was viciously attacked by a 17-year-old with hate so deep and racism riddled in his language and actions. Reflecting on that moment, I always wondered, what if he had a gun? I can only imagine seeing a loving and hardworking grandmother and suddenly not being able to receive her warm hugs and caring words. Or being a grandfather who finally got his chance to live a free life in America, excited to get his first paycheck, not knowing that he would not return back home to share his earnings and buy his new pair of shoes. In Indiana, 8 beautiful lives were taken from us last week. In Chicago, a 13-year-old child will never get a chance to grow and mature and see the beautiful parts of this world. In Brooklyn Center, a baby will go through struggles and grief of growing up without a father, and this is just to name a few. Many other children of God have lost their freedom to live due to senseless hate and gun violence. In schools, we go through active shooter drills, locking doors, closing blinds, hiding all huddled in a dark corner, not really processing that we could actually be in that situation one day because we hoped that we wouldn't. Sikhs, Asians, Latinos, Muslims, and our black brothers and sisters are targeted over and over again. Let us together from near and far, in solidarity, be the beacon of hope to those lives lost in vain and change this nightmarish narrative of hatred and violence being written in the fabric of American history so we and our future generations can feel safe. We're here as a community to grieve together, help each other heal, lean on each other, be each other's source of hope, and validate these difficult emotions as we process these seemingly endless traumas. As Sikhs, our gurus teach us about oneness, loving, and serving humanity, to work together no matter the person's race, gender, and religion, and to be in Chardi Kala, a high-spirited virtue, to face any adversity with ever-rising joy and ever-rising spirit. I'll end with reciting a Shabad, a prayer in Gurmukhi and English that we Sikhs always remember when we face fear, pain, and sadness. Tati van lage bar brahm sarnai. The hot wind does not even touch one who is under the protection of the Supreme Lord God. Jo gird hamare ram kar dukh lage na pai. On all 4 sides, I'm surrounded by the Lord's circle of protection. Pain does not afflict me, O sibling of destiny. Satguru pura petya jin bant banai. I have met the perfect true Guru who has done this deed. Ram nam okhad diya ekale valai rahao. He has given me the medicine of the Lord's name, and I enshrine love for the one Lord. Rakh liye tan rakhanhar sab byad mitai. The Savior Lord has saved me and eradicated all of my sickness. Kaho Nanak kirpa pe prabh pe sahai. Says Nanak, God has showered me with His mercy. He has become my help and support. So again, I thank you all for sharing and joining us in this vigil. In remembrance, let us come together as one family and seek justice and light in this time of darkness. And may we honor their memories today and every day. Nanak naam chardi kala, tere paane sir bata pala. Vaheguru ji ka khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki fateh.
Thank you, Gunber, for that amazing speech. Now, we welcome Reverend Dr. J. Moses of Hope Presbyterian Church of Wheaton.
Good evening, everybody. There's a song, a part of our ritual at my church that we will sing, and it's a significant song that has taken many, many centuries for Christians to sing. And the name of the song is Bring Many Names. And the song talks about something that religious leaders in the past have argued about as far as which is the right name of God. And in this song it says, God, that higher power, that transcendence that we all come to, that we come running to when we see violence occur like we have, has many names. We come here today from many traditions. Sometimes we call us people of faith. But it's not faith in a specific religion, it's faith in each other. It's joint commitment and faith to a future for all of us. It took a long time for my tradition to see the diversity of how we see God. And at the same time, not realize that violence shouldn't happen because of how we see God. And today, as I come with my colleagues and friends, and you're all here, different traditions, we show that learning. I find it so sad and tragic that in our day, it is not the name of God that we have to protect, but the name of the human that we have to protect. Your first guru, from what I'm told and taught, came up from the water in a very sectarian time and said there is no Hindu and no Muslim, there is only the human. The Muslim tradition has the 99 names of God. It's inexpressible how much plurality there is of God. And I wonder, why do we have so many expressions of God? What is the most important one? It's so wonderful to be invited here tonight. It's not my first time. But coming from the Sikh tradition, the most important name of God is not Christian or Muslim or Sikh or Hindu. It is the human. It is the holy that we see in the human's face. And as we have come from seeing God in many names, so tonight, tragically, we see the names of humanity. I pray every Sunday. It's called our Prayers of the People, and you try and pray for current things on behalf of Muslims, on behalf of Sikhs, and I have simply lost track of what name I'm talking about this week, because there are so many names. And as we come out of COVID, and I believe God has been with all of us, we're being challenged to remember the name of God that has been given within us, which has drawn us today, is the name of the human. The name of the innocent human being. And how we come to each other to remind ourselves of the sanctity of our neighbors and the loss of whatever we call of God when they are taken from us in this way. God bless you all tonight.
Thank you, Reverend, for your amazing words. Next, we welcome Azam Nizamuddin, attorney and chairman, Interfaith Committee at Islamic Foundation in Villa Park.
Good evening, everyone, and may peace be upon you all. I'm here once again tonight to be with you in the midst of another unfortunate tragedy. We seem to come together in tragedy. We seem to come together in times of sorrow. Unfortunately, we seem to come together in times of hate. So what is it about the human condition that causes this kind of division? I just want to relate a story in the Quran that helps me to sort of understand the world around us, with both me, my family, our young people.
And it is when God is about to create the first human being in the Islamic and Christian tradition, it's Adam. The angels who existed are alarmed. And they object, or in some would say question, God as to why he's creating another creature that would cause bloodshed and cause and create sin in the world. And it's amazing because the fact is that the angels had an idea that this new creature in the vastness of God's creation is going to do a lot of harm. So there's it's understood by even the angels that human beings do harm. But what was most intriguing is God's response to the angels. What's God's response to the angels is that you do not know what I know. You do not know what I know about the potential of human beings to do goodness. The potential of human beings to do just incredible acts of kindness, of mercy, and goodness throughout the world. So whenever we see acts of hate or vengeance, we always seem to come together and see contrarian acts of goodness, of kindness, and love. And that is our human condition. And no matter how terrible the situation is, it's important for us to come together and recall the inherent goodness of all of us and all people. Now, God says in the Quran that He could have created all of us as one religion, as one people. After all, God is omnipotent. Why couldn't He just we all belong to the same faith traditions or same culture, etc.? Rather, God says, I created you into different sects, tribes, colors, etc. So why? So we can get to know one another and deal with our differences and live in eternal harmony. And that is why the first two names of God, as Reverend Jay referred to, the names of God and the names of human beings, the first two most recited in the Islamic tradition are the most merciful and the most compassionate, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, the two fundamental names of God which are transmuted into human beings so that we raise our families, so that we demonstrate love to our spouses, to our parents, and to our children, to our neighbors, and to gatherings like this. And the Prophet Muhammad reminded us when he said the most important action after belief is to love one another. I bring you these words because I think it's important that when we turn on the news, what do we see? We see shooting after shooting after shooting for the first 10, 15 minutes. And all of a sudden we go to the weather and then sports. It should be the other way around. The first news item every night should be gatherings like this that are held in gurdwaras, at mosques, at churches, to show the reality of human beings, which is ultimate goodness. And unfortunately, it gets lost in that. So I want to remind myself, my family, everybody else, that ultimate goodness is inherently part of the human condition. And as long as we continue to share, to come together and talk, discuss, and have a meal, that ultimate goodness will prevail. And we hope that we don't have to come together in these tragic moments, but next time we come together for happiness and love and sharing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Azam, for sharing your beautiful words with us. Next, we welcome Dr. R. Keith Beauchamp, Senior Pastor at the Bethel New Life Church in Wheaton.
Greetings to each and every one of you this evening. Thank you for the privilege to come out and share with you. I'm so sad by the travesty that gathers us this evening. But yet I trust that the good and almighty God has assembled us to strengthen one another, to embrace one another, to encourage each other. This season is not good. As an African American, we've seen murders, deaths, shootings, and everything else that's happening, and it's not been very positive. These last few weeks, we have witnessed things, and now we share with you and grieve with you and mourn with you as we look and watch our brothers and sisters struggle to understand what is going on in our society, what is happening in our communities. Where is the love? Where is the respect that we should have for life? I'm sorry to say, but I believe in my heart, we have forgotten what it means. No one in this room has created or made a life. You may have given birth, but you're not the creator of it. There is a God. And if there's anyone else who's doing this, I'd like to know who they are. But I know this one thing, that whatever we are doing, it is to lift up and to encourage. So truly, it's been a sad testimony of what's going on in our specific country. As I heard about the mass shooting, as I began to listen and I began to try to put the pieces together, my heart was just full. For once again, we have to talk about the fact that gun violence is out of control, that people don't understand how to respect and encourage each other, and how to strengthen one another. If I disagree with you, it's okay if I disagree, but I don't have the right to take your life. I should just be able to disagree. I don't have the right to destroy or take away from a family member. That's not my power. That's not my privilege. But I'm concerned because our country is struggling. I'm concerned because I know that we know better, and I know that we can do better. I came out tonight. This is my first time here. Thank you, Yasmin, for the invitation. This is my first time here, and it's the most beautiful place. Look at all the beautiful smiling faces. Even under your mask, I can tell you're smiling. I can tell that you're happy to be in communion together. Although it's for an uncomfortable purpose, it's something about coming together that's critical. So I thank you for that. One thing I learned within our community is that we always try to honor God by thanking Him. It says, "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for He is good, and His mercy endureth forever." We say that as we're going through. Somebody said, "Why aren't you as an African American upset, mad, or angry every time you see loss?" I said it's another chance to praise God. It's another chance to honor the one who gave life and to be able to learn something He tried to teach us. He tried to teach us to learn to forgive. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about that, but how do you do that? In the book of Matthew, in the 6th chapter, it says, "Bless them that curse you." Bless them that curse you. Nobody wants to do that. Then it says, "Pray for those who despitefully use you." Nobody else wants to do that. But I learned by doing those things, by coming together and praying for those people who are against me, don't agree with me, don't appreciate who I am. I've learned the art of what this is about, the compassionate and the merciful God. He loves us even when we turn against Him. He loves us even when we don't choose to live right. So again, I say to you tonight, folks, be encouraged. You are not alone in this battle. You are not in your own world or left alone to think that this is just happening to a particular group of people. This sickness, this illness is happening across this great land. And I'm saddened to know that it continues. Somebody asked me, when is it going to stop? How long will this continue? How long? It will continue until we rise up and say no more. Until we say that we need justice, we need understanding, we need compassion. Until we rise up and say, we will not allow you to continue to sell these type of weapons, that we will not allow you to walk around and do the things that you're doing without respect for another human life form. So folks, I want to encourage you tonight, from my heart to your heart, much love, much appreciation, and much gratefulness. May God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Keith, for your kind and powerful words. Next, we are going to welcome Motika Anand, Secretary at United for Peace.
Sat Sri Akal. They were very beautiful speeches and messages that speakers before me have given. I'm here today with a heavy heart to pay my respects to yet another set of victims of gun violence. To see this kind of violence perpetrated on the Sikh community in the month of April, which has been the Sikh Awareness and Appreciation Month, presents to me a cruel irony. The Sikh community in particular is easily distinguishable as different and thus becomes quite vulnerable. Many times it is the vulnerable communities all over the US, not just the Sikh community, just all vulnerable communities that have to bear the brunt of mindless gun violence, as it happened yet again after 2012 when a man opened fire in Gurdwara in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Victims in such shootings are not the only ones who are killed, but also the ones they leave behind, their friends and their families. Our heartfelt condolences to the ones who lost their loved ones. We pray that God give them courage and strength to heal from such deep wounds. President Joe Biden earlier this month, while making remarks on gun violence prevention, said, "Gun violence in this country is an epidemic and it's an international embarrassment." We hope that President Biden, who considers gun violence as not just a gun violence crisis, but also a public health crisis, will make sure that people who are not supposed to have guns don't have them. Can it be done 100%? I don't think so. Will it entirely solve the problem? Maybe not. But it will definitely reduce the number of parents who have to arrange funerals for their children, children who have to bid an untimely farewell to their parents, spouses left alone to struggle with the deep sense of loss, a void left in each of their lives that can never be filled. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." And Sikh community has time and again shown that whenever they have been attacked, they have turned around and helped even the ones that hurt them. Gandhiji had said, "Hate the sin, not the sinner." And in the true spirit of these words, this incident does not mean that we need to hate the perpetrator of the crime or label any community as a hater. We need to yet again open our arms to everyone, including people who don't understand the others, who think they need to shoot and kill. We need to extend our love to all those who are in need of it, all the while demanding strict gun laws in this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Motika, for your kind and inspiring words. Next, we welcome Maria Pike, Survivor Mom, Every Town Survivor Network, and Moms Demand Action.
Good evening, and thank you again for welcoming me in this sacred place. In August 2012, my son was killed in Chicago. In August 2012, a white supremacist killed 6 Sikhs and injured several more. They were preparing a meal. They were preparing langar, which is a meal served free of charge to anyone in the community, regardless of their religion. The double invisibility of the Sikh community is compounded by the bias in the heart of the ones who believe anyone who doesn't look like them is the enemy. The ones who for 4 long years were fed the idea that the reason why bad things happen in America is based on religions, cultures, and people of color they do not care to understand. We're coming out of a national moral injury that lasted 4 long years, which we must consistently reject as we heal and open our hearts and minds to the better angels in our American values and conscience. If you are a Sikh or any minority in America, it is impossible to look at this tragedy in Indianapolis and not believe that there is not racism in their motivation. And there have been a lot of conversations about what the Sikhs are, but very few across the nation understand. I have been privileged to know you for 8 years when you welcomed me to speak on gun violence. I was having a hard time today because I couldn't, what do I tell these people who have embraced me for so long, who have been fighting alongside me with words of courage and words of love? What do I tell these people? That we have failed? No, we haven't failed. We're going to be steadfast on our resolution to end gun violence and hate, a lethal combination. Hate and guns are the enemy. I remember when you invited, I have been coming here a few times, and you were very gracious at teaching me what Sikhs do and what they do in the community. And I learned that your names have to do with equality. You are equals. And I learned that your life is of service. I was invited to join you with Sikhs United to serve the people in Puerto Rico, in the mountains of Puerto Rico. And I saw how much love there is in the Sikh community for others. And that will never be extinguished, because at the end of the day, love is what defines us as humans. And I commit to keep working for not only us here who are present, but also our communities of Chicago, because I come from there. I was serving like Jasbir taught me how to serve. And I have been serving in Little Village. And that is where this 13-year-old child was killed by the gun. We have to look into why this happened. We have an opportunity to look at poverty in a different way and how we can help others like you teach me. So I'm here to commit to keep working on gun laws. Don't despair. I am despairing now, but it's because I feel your spirits. We will keep fighting. We will keep looking for ways to reduce gun violence, because that's the scourge of this nation, and only in this nation do we have the amounts of guns that we have, and the laws are not really helping us. But we will keep going, and I pledge to you that I will keep serving the way you serve the world. And thank you for embracing me, and thank you for inviting me. I am with you. I am you. We will disarm hate. At the end of the day, all that unites us is actually love. We are humans because we love. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Maria Pike, for sharing your story with us. Before I begin and announce our other speakers, I would like to make a quick announcement saying that those who have to go pray, we are praying in the room right next door, I believe. So please please, whenever you have a chance, just please go down to the area over here, and we will give you an area to pray. So, before we have our other speakers come back from prayer, I have a few words from different colleagues around the Chicagoland area who wish to express their condolences with us. From Barbara March Canthrow, Assistant Director at the American Jewish Committee in the Chicago Regional Office. I want to express my sorrow regarding the Indianapolis shooting and the tragic loss of life in the Sikh community. This violence needs to stop. As you may know, AJC has been urging Congress to pass the bipartisan Jabara Hire No Hate Act to improve FBI hate crimes reporting. We must all stand together and fight the hate. From Robert A. Caffey, retired professor of theology at McCormick Theological Seminary. On Sunday, I learned more details about the murders of Amarjit Kaur Johal, Jaswinder Kaur, Amarjit Sekhon, Jaswinder Singh, and all the other victims who had not been then identified. At the FedEx facility in Indianapolis via the New York Times and WGN News in Chicago. The news was so disturbing, it woke me up in the middle of the night. I am praying for those families, for those who were slain, and the Sikh community in Indianapolis. And I am praying and giving thanks to God for you, for the Gurdwara in Palatine, the Gurdwaras in California and Canada, the Gurdwaras in the United States, and your families in Chicago and California. From David Sinsky, Jim Lobianco, and Maria Kenny. On behalf of our program for unaccompanied children, Heartland Human Care Services, and Heartland Alliance, as a whole, we wanted to reach out and offer our deepest condolences for the horrific loss of life in the Sikh community. As news came out this weekend about the mass shooting in Indianapolis, our already heavy hearts ached for you all and what you are experiencing. In these past few weeks, we have all been reeling in at the inexcusable killings of Black and brown people around the country. We will not forget these lives or become desensitized. And we will remember each one of these lives as part of the reason we are committed to our work at Heartland Alliance. And then a word from the Illinois Muslim Civic Coalition. Please accept our humble and deepest condolences as our fervent prayers for peace and safety for your families and communities across our nation and world. We stand with you in requiring a thorough investigation from the authorities and a response that will mean that this will never happen again to any community in the United States. We are here to support and serve however you need. In friendship and community, the Illinois Muslim Civic Coalition. And we do have two more speakers who are part of the Muslim community. They are currently praying, so I will have them come up and say something as soon as they're done. Okay, for now we are going to start lighting the candles. As we begin the vigil, I will start by stating the names of the victim and lighting a candle in their honor. In Boulder, Colorado, Officer Eric Talley, Ricky Olds, Terry Leaker, Denny Stong, Suzanne Fountain, Trelona Lona Bartkowiak, Nevin Stanisic, Lynn Murray, Jody Walkers, Kevin Mahoney. In Atlanta, Zhao Ji Tan. Jelena Young. Hyun Jun Grant. Young A. Yo. Suncha Kim. Da Yo Fung. Paul Andre Michaels. Soon Jung Kim. For those who passed in Indianapolis, Amarjeet Kaur Johal. Samaraya Blackwell. Jasvinder Singh. Amarjeet Kaur Sekhon. John Weishart. Carly Smith. Jasvinder Kaur. Matthew R. Alexander. And then those who have lost their lives to police brutality. Dante Demetrius Wright. Adam Toledo. Now we will have a moment of silence, not just for the victims we are honoring tonight, but also the 177 and more who have lost their lives to gun violence. Now we welcome our two other speakers, I believe. Is Abdullah Mitchell ready?
Yes.
Yes. So please welcome Abdullah Mitchell from the Council of Islamic Organizations of Greater Chicago.
Words of peace and extend my sympathy and compassion to all those families who've been affected by this gun violence. As I looked on the faces of the victims in Indianapolis, one woman stood out in my mind. She appeared to be a grandmother. And she brought to mind for me my grandmother we call Big Mama. And Big Mama was a matriarch for the family. She cared for all her children and grandchildren. She was the source of comfort and a source for help in times of need. Her life was precious to all of us. And I share that with you because when Big Mama passed, it was a void in all of our lives. Someone who cared for us, and we cared for her. Her life was sacred to each and one of the members of my family. And I share that because in the eyes, as I gazed on that picture, I saw Big Mama. I knew she stood for the same things that my big mother stood for me. Ripped from a family whose life was not held sacred. Too often as we look at all the deaths that we've witnessed over the past weeks, already there's been 150 mass shootings in this country since the beginning of this year. Life is not respected. Life is not being held sacred. And it is important for us to come together on evenings like this, not only to grieve and share the burden of loss with one another, but to remind ourselves that as I look across the room and see the candles, that each of us represent a light for holding that all life is sacred. It is not enough that we grieve together. It is important that each of us be that light for the rest of our society to say that all life is sacred. All of us must demand that this violence ends. And that begins not just merely with the gun. The challenge to us is to fight for truth. Too often lies are spread about people, particularly those of color. Misinformation, lies, and half-truths. And these are allowed to stand. Our voices must come together, not just one community, but all of our communities, to say no more. We will not accept lies. We will not accept half-truths. We will hold you to the standard to speak the truth. Because until each and every one of us stands for truth, we will all be at a loss. So I say to each and every one of you, let us all represent the candle that stands in your hands. Let us all be the light for every other person in our society, that we stand for truth. We hold life sacred, and we will do what we have to do. We will speak, and we will protest. We will let our voices and our actions reflect the sanctity that we all hold life. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdullah, for your inspiring words. Next, we welcome Raja Muhammad Yaqib from the Pakistani Coalition.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. With the name of God, He is the creator for all the mankind, Jews, Muslims, Christians, Hindus, Sikhs, and anybody else, Buddhists. We are here today to condemn the action that was taken in Indianapolis a few days ago. As a Pakistani American, as a Muslim, as a human, and as a Punjabi origin, I know the pain of all of you guys, the families sitting in this room. I know the pain you have because Sikh community, our brothers and sisters, they are very peace-loving and hard-working people in this country. The Sikh community, they have great role in the development of this society, this country, in economics, in business, in medical, and all the different areas. I'm surprised a hate crimer, a racist, or the crazy person, he wakes up and he goes to the place, Federal Express, you see the people, 3 innocent ladies working hard for their living, working for their families, and another person and 4 other people also, local people, they were killed by this crazy person. It's very shameful and it's very sad story of this area. Story happened before in Georgia, Atlanta, Colorado, and different part of the USA. We need to ask the government of the United States of America to have an ordinance, to have a law in the parliament, the rights of minorities, the rights of the people of color, for whites, blacks, Hispanics, Indians, Arabs, because this country is a country of immigrant people. And all of over here we are immigrant people in this country. And if there is no strong law, there is no law against the gun violence, there is no any strong law against the hate crimes, there is no any law against the racism, the society has a sad story. This society is not going to survive. So tonight, I feel very sad, and we show solidarity as Muslim, as a Pakistani community, to Sikh community, like you are our brother and sisters. We are with you, we stand with you, and inshallah we'll stand with all any violence that happens against anybody. Because in all the faith, if we people of the faith should know, everybody know about that. To kill an innocent human being, this is a big sin, and this is a big crime in the humanity. If you can disagree with many things, but to kill an innocent human being is big sin and it's big crime. So this has to be stopped in the society, and we should have a strong ordinance in the parliament and all the communities. I'll say I feel very happy and I appreciate the organizers. They arranged this meeting. Next time we should have this meeting, maybe reaching out to Hispanic community, to African American community, to the white community. The people, they believe on the peace and faith, they should come together. And we should act, and the government should act against this hate crimes, the racism in this country, so should we be united. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Raja for sharing your words, and I would like to thank all the speakers once again for coming out and supporting the whole community as we are all being affected by what is going around in the United States. As we come to the end of the vigil, I would like to once again extend my thanks to Palatine Godara, and I invite the Palatine President, Amardev Singh, to please come and speak.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। We all know we are here together for the loss of the humanity. It's not only sort of belong to one religion or one caste. We are all creation of God, no matter what name we call him. We all are proud of, and we should be proud of our identity too, but at the same time, we need to live together, help each other, be united in our happy times and in our sorrows. I would like to thank everyone who has joined us this evening, and hope we will not get together again for this sort of, let's pray together, there will be peace everywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amardev Uncle. I would like to say some closing remarks. We have become numb to the violence. It is no longer numbness for protection, but numbness for familiarity. Since the Indianapolis shooting, we've already had countless more. We can't even plan one vigil without having the next date ready. We shouldn't have to put the names of people who have been taken too early on a list for remembrance. Every soul should receive its own grieving process, but we don't even get a chance to grieve before another shot is fired. Now, if you would please cover your heads and join your hands together while we recite a short Sikh end prayer, a short ardas. Once again, thank you to everyone who's come out to support this vigil. and honor those who have been victims of these violences we've seen across the United States. Parminder Singh, Bhai Sahab, Adas ka sir. And then right after the vigil, we will be having a free dinner called Gunber, so if you wouldn't mind staying back and enjoying it. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
O Master of all ages, O Master of all eternity, Supreme Master, Divine Truth, I bow to you. Dear Lord, you are our Father, our Mother, our brother, our relative, and our friend. You protect us at all places. You are the truth. You are the Creator and self-creator without fear or enmity. You are beyond birth, beyond death. Your light is spread in all your creation and each one of us. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to pay our respect to the victim of gun violence. Please guide us today in this gathering. Give us spiritual wisdom, dispel the darkness of ignorance, and give us strength to do the best we are capable of. Give us folks and let us not waver. Let us not be self-willed. As we sing your glory and pray for peace amongst us and throughout this world, may our spirit always remain high. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.